So in this video we're going to cover 7 cool features / reasons why I decided to buy a BMW 430d. So hopefully this video is going to be somewhat interesting or useful if you're in the market for BMW 4 Series. So here it is, here's my BMW 430d F32 generation. I've been driving this as my daily for the last 6 months. So the first thing I really like about my BMW 4 Series is the way that it looks. So this particular car is an M Sport, so it has some non-standard features like the M Sport brakes, so it's got blue calipers. It also comes with some M badges here and there on the wheels, on the steering wheel. But this particular car has had the M Performance body kit put on it, which includes the front splitter. As you can see, it's got this spike, which isn't standard. It's also had these M Performance side skirts put on. So if we come over to the back, it's also had this wing put on. I also changed the 430d lettering from silver to black. I think the black lettering just looks a lot better. And finally, it's got a slightly larger rear diffuser. So I might just be being a bit biased, but I do think this is a very nice looking car. And even though the G22, the newer generation of 4 Series, has come out, I still think this car looks really good. So the second cool feature about the BMW 4 Series is the rimless windows. Look at this. So this is a really cool feature that stood out to me, and it's one of the reasons why I went with this car over a 3 Series, because the 3 Series doesn't have this feature. And if you open the door, as you can see, the windows are rimless, which I think looks really good. I think it looks even better when the windows are down. Yeah, I just want to say I'm a massive fan of the rimless windows. So the third cool feature about the 4 Series is the boot space. It's actually got a fairly decent sized boot. I think it's 440 litres, which is a decent size. So to show you how practical this boot is, I'm going to demonstrate by trying to fit myself inside the boot. All right, I could almost fit inside the boot, that's good enough. So the fourth feature is actually the engine. So this is a bit of an odd one because you can obviously spec the 4 Series with a bunch of different engines, but I'm going to be praising the engine that's in this particular car, the N57, which is a 3-litre inline-6 diesel engine. This particular engine in the 430d comes with a twin scroll turbo, and stock this car puts out 260 brake horsepower, which is still pretty decent. I straight away got a stage 1 remap on this car, and it's now outputting about 320 brake horsepower. So even though this car isn't going to be gapping an M4, it's pretty fast. I have actually been fairly impressed with the performance, and it does actually feel pretty nippy, especially in sport mode. So if you are using this car as a daily, I would recommend buying one of these cars with an N57 engine in, because that engine's able to produce pretty decent power, and I'm still getting about 40 miles to the gallon even after remapping this engine. So the fifth surprising feature about this car is the back seat room. Obviously this car doesn't even have rear doors, but in the occasion that you have to carry backseat passengers, it actually does have a fair amount of space in the back. So to get to the back, you actually press this button here and it moves the seat forward electrically. For me anyway, my knees aren't touching the front seat, and if I sit up straight, I can just about touch the roof, but it's not terrible. So if you're after a coupe that can actually seat 4 people, then the 4 Series is not a bad option. So my sixth feature about this car, well, it's not really a feature, but it's a positive, and this feature is the interior. So I'm going to move the camera around. So I don't have a specific feature, but I'm talking about the overall interior dash, and everything is just high quality and comfortable. Soft squishy leather all the way around. It has the cruise control buttons, and then down on the other side it has the infotainment buttons. This came from an era where it had an infotainment screen, but not all the features were controlled through the infotainment. So as you can see, everything has an individual button, from the heated seats to the climate control. So I know that the 4 Series could be specced with loads of different options, so there'll be options in this car that other cars don't have, and vice versa. But this is a very comfortable car. As you can see, it's got full leather seats. There is a leather armrest. All the trim in this particular car is all brushed metal. As you can see, the door handles are brushed metal. A lot of these cars were specced with the Harman & Kardon sound system, which actually does sound pretty good. There's also an interesting button over here that If you press it, it has auto dipping headlights, so it's quite hard to see, but this actually comes with paddle shifters. So even though this iDrive is 1 or 2 generations old, it still does the basic functions like sat nav, music, which is all I need it to do. The maps are not the worst thing in the world, they actually do work. So one annoying thing I did actually find about this generation of iDrive is it doesn't come with Android Auto, it's just got Apple CarPlay. So my 7th and final cool feature slash reason to consider buying a BMW 4 Series is the way that it drives. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to hook my camera up to my windshield and we're going to take this car for a drive. So we're going to go and take this car for a drive, and I'm going to hopefully try and show you how much fun this car is to actually drive. So since buying this car, I've actually done 2 mods to it. I've remapped it, which has made it more powerful and feel a little bit more responsive. The other thing I did was fit the front control arms with polyurethane bushes, which has made the handling even stiffer. So this car handled really well to start off with, but if you want to take your 4 Series to the next level, polyurethane bushes and a remap. So this car has so much low down torque, which is one thing that makes driving this car a little bit different to driving other cars. And that is that on this particular car, peak torque is around 3,500 RPM, which means that to get the most out of this car, you actually want to keep the revs around about 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. So unlike a naturally aspirated petrol engine that you might let rev out to about 8,000 RPM, in this car you want to be switching up gears a bit sooner. So here we are, we're going to downshift to 3,000. Annoyingly, I'm in a road where there's a tractor, so I'm going to have to reverse. So one thing this car is missing is an exhaust note. Because it's a diesel, at lower RPM it does sound a little bit like a tractor. In terms of steering, yeah, the steering's really good. It's got the 50-50 weight distribution of the 4 Series. The steering's sharp. It is electric steering, but it does still feel really good. But yeah, I'm probably going to end this video here. If you have enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I do mainly tech videos, but the occasional car video. And if you've got any questions about the 430D, leave them in the comments section below, and I will see everyone in my next video.